Hey everybody, Jeff, your executive gardener. Welcome. So it is, the end of February here, just about the beginning of March, and excuse my arm here, I'm petting my dog on the right side, if you're wondering what I'm doing. She wants to be around me, go figure. Anyway, it's the beginning of March here, just about, and boy, it seems like the winter will never end. As you can see from behind me, I back up to some woods. I'm on my back patio. And it's raining again. And in Pittsburgh, it rains a lot. Not as much as Houston, about half the amount, but it rains more frequently and less comes down at once. But the weather's high 40s, low 50s, and probably in about a month or two, we're going to start planting. So it can seem like for those in the north that the winter will never end. And it's certainly the past 15, 16 years I've been in Houston, I was just about ready to put my seedlings outside probably in 3 or 4 weeks. Not here. It'll probably be until early May until I put it out here because obviously the frost has pushed back some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a series here on kind of what you can grow indoors. And a lot of people do series where they do the whole series at once in one video. I'm actually going to do it split out. And this series is going to be about how to grow your own shiitake mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms on steak, on fish, is one of my very favorite things. So what we're going to do in this video, and I'll show you in a little bit, is the few ways that you can grow shiitake mushrooms from a block, from wood. I'm not going to do the wood, pieces of wood, but I'll show you how to grow it on your own from a block, from spawn, etc. And then we're going to take it through the series and show you how you get the mycelium to grow, and then what you do to harvest the mushrooms, the grow tent, and then lastly we're going to finish up with how to prepare those mushrooms for a fine filet mignon or steak. And it'll kind of cap out the series. And the beauty of this series is that you'll come with me, and a lot of times when you see these gardening videos from people like myself or others, we do have a lot of fails. So you'll come along for the ride as we go along. And if we fail, we learn together. Actually, this is the first time I've ever grown or cultivated shiitake mushrooms on my own. I'll also be doing maitake, but this series is on shiitake mushrooms. So let me take you inside and show you and talk to you about the very first few steps in cultivating and growing shiitake mushrooms. All right, so here we are, we're back. So this is a shiitake block. Now there's two ways you can grow mushrooms, and let me go through them. So you can either buy a block that's already been inoculated from a vendor. In this situation, I bought it from Myco Atlantic. You can see that. I'll put the link on the site. And this thing comes, it's basically a block that's been inoculated already with mycelium. The spores, and the mycelium will grow. So these spores are from obviously a shiitake mushroom that has released spores, and typically it's in a liquid culture syringe that is injected into this bag. But basically when it comes here, it looks like a big bag of sawdust. So there's hard pellets, sawdust that's mixed up, oat bran, and that's typically it. It's typically mixed up. You get this, and then they inoculate it, and then they give you instructions, as you see right here. And basically, I'll tell you what you do. But this thing doesn't look like this. This is almost ready. It was inoculated probably 65 days ago or so, and it's soon ready to be harvested. We'll get into that in the next video. So, what you'll need then is you'll need to buy this from a vendor like Myco Atlantic. You'll need a big tote like this, Sterilite, and you'll need a heat mat, because the heat mat is required. These things, you need to keep it about 73 degrees, 72 degrees all the time. You lay this tote on top of the heat mat. You don't need to worry about humidity as it relates to allowing the mycelium to grow. and then you'll need a temperature controlled heat mat that keeps it at 72 degrees. I put this tote on top of the heat mat, and over time, over the last 2 months, this basically has come to it. So I'm going to try to give you a close up here to see what it looks like, but you can see all of the mycelium has grown. It looks like brown popcorn kernels in there. And there's only a little bit, and it's inside this bag. These are specially grown bags that allow you to sterilize the grain that's inside them, and then you inoculate it with a syringe. But you'll see there, this comes as is. In the bottom of the bag right there, that sawdust, look, that's the only thing that's left. Now this brown, and there's some gooey brown liquid in here, that's not a bad thing. That just is a byproduct of the mycelium growing. So again, we're about a week out, and then we'll show you what you do here next. But I have another one in here as well that's growing. So there's two shiitake bags that are about ready to go, and we'll show you that video next. But again, you can buy it from a vendor. It's already inoculated with the oat bran and the sawdust pellets. It's already been sterilized in this bag, and it's sent to you ready to go. All you have to do is get a tote, get a heat mat, and then let it sit in a dark place for 2 months. That's it. 2 months. So low maintenance, but you got to have patience. So it sits there for 2 months, and the mycelium slowly grows around the entire block, and it turns into kind of a hardened block, much like a piece of wood that you'd find outside mushrooms growing from. So that's that. Now, what I wanted to show you next is that I want to show you what the mycelium looks like. And let me turn the camera on and off again. All right, so if you don't want to buy a block that looks like that, it's usually $50 bucks, and you want to do it your own and learn the process from start to finish, this is how you have to do it. So, which I've started to do, and I'll give you an example. So you have to buy a syringe with liquid culture or spores in it already, and there's tiny little spores within this liquid culture. It comes like this. What you basically do is you get a needle and you inject it into this grain. Now this is just simply grain. It's a grain bag. It's in the outside specialized plastic bag. It's been sterilized to make sure that there's no bacteria or anything in there, and you're ready to go. You simply inject this into this bag, and then over about a month period of time, this bag, all this grain is the same bag as this bag. You'll see that the mycelium that you inject in there over 4 weeks grows and takes over the entire bag. This is mycelium, no different than you'd see mycelium on a forest floor with leaves spreading all over the place. So that's what it looks like. So after 4 weeks then, what you do is this becomes completely white, becomes a little bit hard, and then what you do is you take this mycelium, you'll break open this bag, and you put it into this. So this is a bag full of oat bran and sawdust, and what you do is this has obviously no mycelium growing in it at this point in time, but I'll take the grain from this, and after this is sterilized and in a pressure cooker, I will add this pink oyster mycelium into here, mix it up really good, and let it sit for 60 days. At some point in time, the mycelium from this grain bag are going to need the oat bran and the hardwood pellet sawdust in here to grow. And then eventually this will look like that, okay? So I don't have to buy these blocks anymore. I can certainly grow them my own. For convenience, in the beginner, definitely the best way to go is buy it from a vendor. They come in kits. Just look for shiitake mushroom growing kit. But again, you need patience. It does take about 2 months for shiitake block to fully grow and get the mycelium to fully penetrate the entire block. But that's what that looks like. So again, this is a fully full mycelium grown, and it's just about done. You'll see there's a little bit left. The mycelium will continue to grow. Same thing when this grows. You probably want the temperature to be about 70, 75 degrees. It should be in total darkness, okay? Humidity does not matter at this point in time. Humidity matters when you start fruiting the mushrooms, which we'll get to in a later episode. But I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a little bit confusing. You can do a lot more research. I did not want to make this video 10 hours long. There's a lot of research and time that goes into growing mushrooms. It really makes it, it's really kind of a miracle that they grow by themselves in the wild. But I'll come back in a few weeks, and then what we're going to do is we'll get back to this, and we're going to set this up for next steps in fruiting, which includes dunking the log, putting it in the refrigerator for a little bit amount of time to shock it, and setting up the grow tent. And we'll show what happens from then. Again, you're coming along for the ride with me. So it could fail, it could not. This is the first time I've grown it, but I am a student of gardening. I'm a student of this business, and no better way to learn with me. And if it does fail, then we learn together, like I said. But I think I'm in pretty good shape. The one thing that hurts people that grow, or mycologists, the people that grow mushrooms, is contamination. So throughout the entire process, typically you wear gloves like a doctor or nurse would, and you got to sterilize everything throughout every process, through the injection or the inoculation, the pressure cooker, etc. Because if it gets contaminated, you got to throw the whole thing out, which is frustrating. So this shiitake log as well, once it starts to fruit, will fruit several times. So there's enough mycelium in here, but you have to dunk it after every time, and we'll get into that. But then after we're done, once we start to see shiitakes grow from both of these grow kits, then we will cook it, and we'll show you how to properly cook the shiitakes, fry them in a pan, and then put them on your favorite steak. That's the best part of it. So let me wrap it up here in a second. So we're back. I'm here to wrap up the video. And one thing I forgot to say is that you can grow shiitake mushrooms outside. It's a different episode. I'll show you how to do that once we get into the spring. But you can buy wooden dowel plugs like this, okay, that are already inoculated with a mycelium. And then what you simply do is you drill a hole into the log, and you, about every 6 to 8 inches, it's got to be a log, preferably an oak log that's been cut maybe 3 months ago, still alive. And then you seal, you drill the hole, you put the dowel in, and you seal it off with beeswax. And then eventually mycelium will penetrate the wood of the log. Again, it has to be a live log that was cut down, not alive, but a fresh log that was cut down 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then what you simply do is you wait 5 or 6 months, and you'll start to have shiitake grow out of the logs. That's more of an outdoor type growing, but this is obviously indoor. So we'll bring you back for the next episode. But long story short, we hope to, in about 1 week or 2 weeks, be able to put those shiitake logs that I bought from Microatlantic into the grow tent that is going to be humidity controlled and temperature controlled. And we'll dunk it first, put it in the refrigerator, shock it, and then have the mycelium log that I bought start to fruit, hopefully, in pin set, which will be exciting. So I know this is a lot of information, but what I would encourage you to do is not do all these things on your own. Buy the syringes and the liquid cultures and the spores, and make your own grain bags and all that. That's a bit confusing. Just go to a website like Microatlantic, purchase the shiitake or maitake kit, follow the instructions. All you really need is a dark place, a heating mat, and a tote like I showed you, and patience. And there you'll have it. You'll have plenty of mushrooms. In this situation, I don't know if you've been to the store, shiitake mushrooms are relatively expensive, so are maitake, but you can get several flushes, or a flush is what is also known as a harvest. within the mycology world, and it's grown organically, etc. So that's that. So I'll see you in a few weeks for the next channel. I also want to remind folks, I will be bringing up the website, executivegardener.com. Go there and bookmark it. It's in process. We will be feeding our Instagram videos there. We'll be feeding all new YouTube videos, and eventually I'll be starting a blog. In addition, I've decided to, as I told you in the last video, and I believe this video won't have it either, to get rid of videos, YouTube advertising videos within my videos. I find them incredibly annoying before, after they pop up all of a sudden, and I don't want to put my viewers and my subscribers through that, so I've done away with that. So I am going to a Patreon subscriber-based platform where you can see the 3 different levels. Please do not subscribe yet. Please wait until April or May until we start having content, and you'll see what you get. For example, people in the top level will have, they'll serve as our advisory committee, and we'll have several Zoom calls together. People will get the actual recipes that my wife, who will be doing the cooking, will share with you. Behind the scenes footage, additional footage, videos that other people don't get, live stream, seeds, all that type of stuff. So I think the first one's $3 a month, that's all. Then $6 a month, then $15 if you want to be on the advisory committee for Executive Gardener. But again, we're going to take this to the next level. And again, we're not going to, in this situation, just show you how to grow mushrooms. We're going to show you recipes and how to cook them on the stove and prepare your own meal. In the winter, in the spring, once the beds get up and going, we will show you how to grow the tomatoes, grow the hot peppers, etc., and then how to prepare them. So it's not just about growing this channel, it's also about preparing food, cooking food, and again, if you are a subscriber on the Patreon account, you see value, we'll give you the recipes as well. So that's all I have for this episode. Actually, one more thing. We are going to start a new grower series where one of my neighbors here, Matt, he loves hot peppers, so we'll be growing 3 different hot peppers for him, and we're starting them indoors. So as you may know, peppers take a while to germinate. They require heat. They require some special conditions. They're a bit finicky. So we're going to be doing the Buchalaki ghost pepper, the Hungarian wax banana pepper, and one other, I can't remember. So we're going to start by teaching him on the video with me how to go about doing that. He's actually building his own irrigated raised bed garden, and we're going to teach him and take you along. So if you are a new gardener and you want to find out about how to grow peppers, tomatoes, and starting to grow seeds indoors to learning how to irrigate the bed and all that, tune in. Anyway, I've rambled. That's enough. Hope you've enjoyed this first of the series of growing shiitake mushrooms. We'll be back in a few weeks to show you what the fruiting tent looks like once the block has been fully colonized with mycelium. Until next time, Jeff, your Executive Gardener. Bye for now.